Welcome back, Montreal. This is the Suburban Radio Hour. Beryl Wiseman, editor of the Suburban, with you. My dear friends and colleagues, Anthony Bonaparte, Mike Cohen, and now we turn it over to Mark Ledbetter, our great sports editor. Mark, you have a very special guest with us today.
Yes, I do. I have a former Olympian who is going into the Canadian Amateur Boxing Hall of Fame, Ian Clyde, who not only had the unique pleasure of competing in his home country, but also in his home city, because he's the pride of Verdun, now living in Côte Saint-Luc, actually. And he's going into the class of 2024 into the Amateur Boxing Hall of Fame following a very long career. And Ian, welcome. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you all, and I hope everything goes well on this show.
Well, listen, what's it like being informed that you're going into the Hall of Fame? You know, there's a couple other Quebec female boxers going in. There's a couple other gentlemen going in. What's it mean to you looking back on your illustrious career?
Well, thank you for that note of confidence and illustrious. Well, that's very kind of you. It was really a bit of a shock. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, and delighted. Brought a tear in my eye when I was speaking to one of the gentlemen who called me, and I hope I can motivate some young people who may be discouraged from not being able to meet up to their goals or aspirations, because I was a crippled little boy at 3.5 years of age. I was confined to a steel leg brace and the crutches and all that kind of stuff, wheelchairs, and I was told I would never walk and forget about playing sports. It's impossible. You'll never be able to do it. But I remember sitting in grade 1 in elementary school at St. Thomas More in Verdun, looking out the window with a young lady, little girl who kept me company for recess and lunch hours, Debbie Bolduc, who are still friends today. She would keep me encouraged and happy in some company. And I was already dreaming and planning and goal setting for my future. And everyone except her and my grandmother laughed at me and told me I was crazy. My first goal was only to become a Golden Glove champion boxer. That's a provincial title. And then I said a little higher. I said I'll be national champion. And in fact, I said I'm going to go to the Olympics one day. And I still remember so vividly. This is 60, 61, 64, 62 years ago, I guess. I guess. Yeah, so I'm not a mathematician either. Anyway, I guess I was only 6 years old, so I was a 62, 61 year. I'm going to be 68 in a couple of weeks.
And
so
you overcame the adversity, and you did become a Golden Gloves champ and a national champ. And then 76 Olympics in Montreal, and you got to compete in the Olympics. What was that like, being a hometown lad taking part in those games?
Well, it was an awesome experience, and just thinking about it now and you bringing it back to my mind gets me all choked up because as I mentioned earlier, for goals much less than that, I was told were impossible. And I still remember people laughing at me and joking and telling me not to be a fool and don't think like that, you're crazy. But that's why I wanted to inspire some other young kids. Whatever you believe, you can achieve. Persistence prevails when all else fails. And keep praying. Pray ceaselessly, it says in 1 Thessalonians 5:17 in the Bible. So, God hears the prayers of innocent little children. And, things don't always work out as expected sometimes. But I'll never forget marching through the big Olympic stadium, which was jam-packed. People only standing room only, like nobody, everybody. You couldn't fit one more person in the place, I don't think. And when our Canadian team, the national team, marched in, the whole place was reverberating. The size of that monstrous construction site. Now, it was just incredible, and yeah.
And you competed in the flyweight division. You made it to the round of 8, where you lost to Cuba's Raymond Duvalon.
That's right, Raymond Duvalon. Yeah,
he went on to win the silver. So that wasn't. I mean, it was a tight fight, and you lost that one.
Yeah, it was a close fight too. I think it could have gone either way, but they gave him I think they gave him a split decision. But,
it was a split decision on that one. But
yeah, I still think we won it. But anyway,
you also earned a silver in the Commonwealth Games, and you won a bronze at the Pan Am Games.
Pan American, that's correct.
That was in '79. Now, 1980, it was looking good for you to be. You were actually the favorite for the gold medal. You were made team captain of the boxing team. What was that disappointment like when they announced the boycott because of Moscow?
Well, it was a very hurtful experience because I had peaked. That was my turn to win it. As a matter of fact, just before the Olympics in Moscow, our Kenyan team toured.
You were in Cuba. I understand. If I remember correctly, you actually beat the boxer, the Cuban that was the favorite.
You're absolutely correct. I should mention that. I knocked out the Cuban national champion, who was gold medal favorite for the Cuban team. And after the fight, I was in the restroom getting ready, getting showered and things, and this Cuban came running in. He said, Senior Clyde, El Presidente Senior Castro wants to see you immediately at ringside. So for a fleeting second, I thought he's going to kill me now because I knocked out his gold medal favorite fighter. But we had known, Fidel Castro and I knew each other, so going back to the 70s, the late 70s. Maybe early 70s. So for some reason or other, because I didn't believe in his communistic regime, and he knew that because we discussed a lot of things together, and I think he respected me for taking a stand on that and offering him my opinion, because he was not a gentleman. He was a gentleman when you got to know him, but he could be pretty rough, and people were afraid of him.
And he was a sportsman, though, and he just wanted to congratulate you.
Yeah, he loved boxing. That's right. So what he did, he gave me a big hug and squeezed my hand. He had a giant hand, and he reached in his pocket, in his suit pocket, his inside pocket. He pulls out a big Havana Monte Cristo cigar, and of course he already had one in his mouth because he never left the cigar, never left his mouth until he slept. I guess I don't know if he slept with one too.
Well,
he always had it. So
it was a great career, followed by a 25 fight pro career, but being recognized for your amateur career is very much deserved, Dean. And I want to thank you for taking the time today to let us know and live a little history.
Well, thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you all again and speaking to everyone. And God bless you. Thank you so much.
And just a word, we must have him back because the 25 bouts, he was under the tutelage of Angelo Dundee.
That's right.
And for anybody who like me thinks that Muhammad Ali was the greatest fighter, maybe the greatest athlete ever, Dundee was his trainer, manager for his whole career. So we got to have Ian back and talk about Angelo Dundee.
Will.
Oh, thank you. And Muhammad Ali and I used to get along really well, and we kind of play sparred together on the sidewalk.
All right, Mark's going to have you back.
We'll be back. We'll have you back, Ian. Take care.
God bless. Take care.
God bless.
A great day, gentlemen. Thank you. Bye.
Great guy. So from classy boxers to jackals.
Yes.
You've got Chacals.
The WLLV Chacals. They erupted for 3 goals deep into the third period to take a 3-0 win over the visiting Surwa Express. So you could say they derailed the Express in the Lac St. Louis regional playoffs. And that was with 4:10 left in regulation when they struck for 2 goals in a 23-second span to take control of the game. Goaltenders James Barker of the Chacals and Elliot Allard of the Express, they held off numerous attacks on both sides as they looked to take an upper hand right until that point. And they were the cause of the scoring drought. But at the buzzer, it was Barker earning the clean sheet, and Johnny Lobianco's goal with 4:10 to go stood as the game-winning tally in playoff action.
And we've got an Owls player who's a World Vision ambassador?
Yeah, well, the Canadian Football League support of youth and communities has extended onto the global stage through its newest official charity partner, World Vision Canada. Each team has a player as a World Vision ambassador, and recently Alouette Marc-Antoine Decoy was joined by fellow ambassadors Tim White of the Tiger Cats, Reggie Bagleton from Calgary, and Nick Dembski of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on a mission to the Philippines. Marc Anton told me it was important for me to go on this trip and be part of this project. It was important to see the work that was being done in the field, and I felt that it would be a fit right up my alley as towards the person I am. Now, the 9 days they spent in country, the ambassadors were taught a little Tagalog at the San Ramon Elementary School. They learned about the livelihood program from 4 families who were engaged in soft broom making to make an income. There were multiple family visits to understand the positive impact that the World Vision Canada programs have there. And they met fishermen and their families in coastal villages. But of course, they also taught a little football, and the kids had a great time with that, running and catching.
Mark, thank you for that great report as always. And next week, you're going to be covering the West Island Lakers All-Star Weekend.
With Sean Bradwell. They do it as a fundraiser every year for the Sean Bradwell Fund, which is for cancer research for children. And then we'll have some Surwa against Westmount U13B girls hockey. And we'll take a look at the Rocket Report because the end of the season's coming. And are they going to make the playoffs?
Terrific. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Anthony, Mike, Stephen. And thank you all for listening. And join us next week on the Suburban Radio Hour on CJD 800.